All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, crypto enthusiasts and decentralized dreamers, welcome to Dad's Gone Crypto, the podcast where we take chaos of crypto, the madness of fatherhood, and the brilliance of blockchain and blend it all together in one epic show that you're never going to forget.
Absolutely. In the past, we've watched tech giants change the world one click at a time. But today we ask, what happens when the world changes connectivity itself?
Today, we're not just talking about the next big thing, we're talking about redefining what connection means. Join us as we revisit a trailblazer in the journey of connecting the unconnected and the disconnected. World Mobile's visionary, Micky Watkins, welcome to the show.
How's it?
Great to have you on the show again, Micky.
Great to be back.
Yeah, it's been a while, so we have a lot to catch up on.
Absolutely. Looking forward to answering some of your questions and for you to hear where World Mobile's been and where it's going.
This last couple of weeks has been some special weeks for the Watkin brothers, and basically on the Minutes side of things, your brother has moved on to the Minutes network, and he's sold out his nodes and he sold out the tokens, and he's on another level in that regard, right? But you guys started together World Mobile from the age, from an early age, getting into telecommunications from about 12 years of age. And how does it feel that as brothers, you guys are still together, but in different spheres, pioneering this space? How did you must feel that ultimate burning sensation on the inside that you can take a sibling with you and family. Obviously, there's friends and family and stuff as well, but in particular, a brother.
Of course, it's an honor for me. I've been guidance for my brother since he was very small. We were working together from when he was 11 years old. I think I would have been 18, maybe 19. I was his first investor, and it's been ever since. Then nothing's changed. I still speak to him just as much as I did when he was at World Mobile. We still, in fact, it's even better because he's working his own thing, but it's very much a sister project to World Mobile, something that World Mobile needs. And of course, they need traffic as well from the consumer level. So it's synergistic and it makes sense. I'm very proud of him, very proud of his team. And I think he's going to smash it just like he always has.
Yeah. And Micky, let's start with the classic. Obviously, you've said this about 1 million times, but for that new person that's coming into crypto, because obviously we're in a new space where people are saying, oh, what's happening? What is Deepen? What's the latest, hottest project? Where is real change happening? Let's start with, how was World Mobile created? What was the main vision behind it? And when was that light bulb moment that said, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life?
Honestly, I came to it through privacy. That was my first thing. And I realized that in order to give people privacy, I probably needed to step away from legacy telecom operators that I'd either partnered with or working with. So I built a solution. It took me about 6 months. Probably 6 hours, 7 hours a day. And then I started to take it to people that I knew. And they said, well, this is great, but we can't monetize the data. I was like, hold on, why do you want to monetize data? And they started to explain, WhatsApp and other applications had come out and it decimated their industry. So the only thing left really was charging for the subscription or the data usage, no SMSs anymore, no voice anymore. And they came into a position where they said, the only thing we can monetize is data. So actually, your data is not yours. That was an inflection point for me where I thought, hold on, I've brought a solution out here, but it's not suited to the market because the market leaders don't want it because they're making money elsewhere. So then I looked where there was no connectivity or very little connectivity, and to my shock, now to my awe, because I know that we can help solve this situation, but to my shock, 3.5 billion people were unconnected, half the planet. So I said, okay, well, if I can build the connectivity and bring the solution together, at the same time, give birth to a new type of mobile network operator.
Absolutely. So following up on that, when you speak of connectivity, can you just explain that a little deeper on how you're connecting the unconnected?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a sharing economy. So if you can think of Uber and Airbnb, they're classic examples of a sharing economy where participants can own part of a network, all of a network. They can use their rooftop in order to host infrastructure, or they can be remote and buy anodes. This is an anode behind me on this side. When that anode is then plugged into the internet, usually a commercial line or a World Mobile line, it then broadcasts out to the street or wherever it can see. People who are on the World Mobile network or wholesale customers on other networks that we have partner deals with can then use that connectivity. So many people think this is in emerging markets, that there's only an issue. But let me give you an example. The United States of America, 30% of the land mass is unconnected, 11% of the population unconnected, with millions of children not even able to have internet at home. Families and businesses not able to have internet at home or where they work. So this is a problem that the whole world has, and it's a problem that actually together we can fix.
Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. I never, until I started following you guys and, getting involved, I never would have guessed that the US had people that were unconnected. We're all in our little echo chambers, and we never think about those, those little areas out there that have no real good connectivity.
Well, if you look at the options that we have, we just accept it. So we drive around a corner and there's no connectivity. We go into our garden or into a section of our house and there's little connectivity, and the call drops. But because there's no one to complain to, because no one will do anything about it, we just accept it. So I think lots of people understand this problem with the Swiss cheese, with the holes in connectivity or with no connectivity. They just don't complain about it because complaining doesn't help. But now there's an alternative solution, right? You can build your own network or give your rooftop of your house to somebody else to put their network on top of that, their radios, and all of a sudden you fix your problem, you fix your neighbor's problem, and you're earning from it. So it's pretty cool and pretty relevant.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Micky, 2 years ago, you had this vision with your team to, start that journey of connecting the unconnected. And you had a vision back then of this is what I wanted to do. Then technology kind of enabled you to do more and pivot. And then the blimp arrived. And then in Mozambique, it was, a pivotal moment where you can connect mass amounts of people for long range distances. And now there's a whole bunch of things now, even Starlink as a backhaul. Has the vision changed, or have you changed your vision from when it first started? Or has technology just empowered you to kind of just do more?
The vision has not changed. It's still the same vision. Every human on this planet should have the right to connectivity. And if they can fix, or somebody else can fix that problem, I think there's an incentive model that can do that. So the vision hasn't changed. Technology's got better, sure. When we first started, Starlink wasn't an option for backhaul. It was just people talking. Now Starlink is fantastic. And as you can see with the latest video, how we work with Starlink and in which way, and other low Earth orbit satellites, it's really important. But ultimately, I think that we've been so successful in the fact that we take off-the-shelf equipment. So we didn't go into manufacturing our own boxes, our own devices, our own radios. We do have our own radios, but they're specifically for aerostats, because there's nothing out there that works for capacity and range. But in general, the terrestrial network of World Mobile buys off-the-shelf equipment. So as that off-the-shelf equipment gets better, we benefit from that. All the QA is done, all the licensing is done, the very robust testing is done, and we feel confident that our community can go out and deploy these radios. So the vision is the same, the technology gets better, but we're in a very good position, very lucky.
Ryan, can I just quickly jump in there with just a follow-up question? It's a typical example of a David versus Goliath situation. Here's a couple of guys trying to take on conglomerates with literally unlimited amounts of budget and funds to destroy, every vision and every idea that you have. Like, have you ever been scared of those guys coming after you? I know being strategic and working out of their realm, you've been under the radar, but have you ever been scared of these guys coming in and just, because money can destroy, ideas and can submerge latest technologies because of that profit center. Have you ever felt that, in your journey since we spoke to you the last 2 years?
Many times. There's been many blocks that have been put up where people are fearful for the World Mobile's coming for their lunch. In the beginning, they just thought it was a joke. And then in the middle, they said, oh, well, maybe it's going to work, maybe it's not. And then they saw it working. So now we've managed to change a lot of the mindset of a sharing economy within telecommunications. Sharing spectrum was never heard of before World Mobile came along. It just wasn't there. And World Mobile's managed that in several different countries. Sharing infrastructure wasn't heard of. These networks, they don't want a network of networks. They want to be the king with the most subscribers to them. But actually, that's only because it's their mindset. So never being fearful always been aware that this can happen, but also know that with the power of the people, we're unstoppable. And that's what it comes down to. World Mobile is a company. It is a network, but as much as it's anything else, it's a movement to reclaim power, to reclaim control over our own dignity, our own pride, to be able to be in control of our own data. So it's about the message and about people understanding, and then combine that with the demands. There's a huge demand for better connectivity. You've got a really winning recipe here. So fearful, no, because I know the power of the people can squash anybody and anything. It's just a matter of people understanding that they have a choice now.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, speaking of choices, and you mentioned the US a little bit ago. So now it appears that World Mobile has become a fully licensed operator in the US. That is absolutely huge news. So what's your strategy there? Are you aiming for national coverage, or are you just focusing on areas that need it most right now?
Okay, so the aim in the US is there's a huge population with an average revenue per user of around $87. There's a huge distrust for telecoms, telecommunication companies, rightly and wrongly in several different ways. And there's a chance. There's a chance to show the people that a people-powered network can deliver better results for them and give them back the right to be earning, give them back the right of their own control. So we're going in. We're coming. We're coming to take on Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, and build the largest network that the USA and the world has ever seen.
That's absolutely amazing. When can I get my? When can I connect?
I want to be part of World Mobile. One of the first in January 2025. We'll be launching I call it a beta. It's a full product. It's been working for the last 3-4 months, and then you can use the service. You'll have SIM swap insurance as a default. You have a VPN as a default. You'll be able to stake tokens to different memberships to be able to get better benefits and some things that we do everything that the big carriers do. But we give you more, and we give you control of your connectivity.
I can't wait.
Micky, could you clarify? So you guys are basically an MVNO, right?
No, we're an MNO.
No.
Helium or an
MNO?
MVNO. An MVNO means that you are riding off of the back of another mobile network operator, often exclusively. So if you're an MVNO on T-Mobile or C-Cell, or whoever it may be, you're exclusive to them unless you were 20 years ago when the industry first started, because that's their way of making sure that the subscribers come to them. We are a fully licensed mobile network operator with full control over our own mobile core. So therefore, we can do the things that other MVNOs can't.
Okay, yeah, because I was fearful. I was fearful of the MVNO because, like in South Africa, in order to operate, but you still operate under the brand, and if the brand decides to cut you or put up your tariffs, you're screwed because you can't compete with that. So you guys became, I think, the 73rd licensed operator in America. Is that right?
I don't know the number, but it's definitely in the low hundreds, before the hundreds for sure. It might be the 52nd, but. We can put that in the comments later.
Right.
So just on that note, so you guys are literally like a T-Mobile, like any of these other guys. So no one can take away your thunder. You basically now have the space to create and do and disrupt, because there's always that fear that this like, obviously when you're developing, it's like, okay, we got to prove concept's proven, we got to grow, we still got to prove concept, but now it's starting to expand at a rapid rate, and you're like, shit. Okay,
no, you need to be, if you're going to offer the user control over their own data, and you're going to offer the user the ability to be able to sell to other customers, then you need to be a mobile network operator. It's not easy. It's very expensive. You have to know what you're doing. Building out your own mobile core is definitely a challenge that only if you know what you're doing can you do it. You can't learn this stuff from a book. So we just wanted to be in full control and allow ultimately our sharing economy to be in full control. And if you're just sponsored by another mobile network operator, you're ultimately not in full control. And therefore, how can you be decentralized? How can you talk about all these things of security when you can't even access that information? Because you're just being sponsored by another mobile network operator. So, and by the way, there will be MVNOs that open on World Mobile. So I'm not saying MVNOs are bad. I'm just saying that if you're coming out to be a telecom company and you're promising the things that blockchain can deliver, the security, the transparency, you can't be an MVNO.
Yeah.
All right, so that's absolutely amazing. But let's switch gears a little bit here. World Mobile has been deeply rooted in blockchain from the start. You've recently mentioned expanding to multi-chains. For those of us who aren't blockchain wizards, how does this tie into your strategy, and what does it mean for your users?
So we always wanted to make sure that people didn't have to just trust us. That's very important as a mobile network operator, because we can say one thing and we can do another, and there's no way for anybody to prove it unless there's a whistleblower inside the company. So we always wanted to be able to put our hands up and say, hey, you can trust us, right? And if you don't believe us, then you can look on chain. So recently we built out the World Mobile Chain. The World Mobile Chain is an optimism fork with a lot of custom code using World Mobile token as gas that rolls up to base. This makes it very, very, very cheap for us to be able to run millions and millions of people's worth of data and calls through the network and settle those. And in the future, we will also have other settlement layers that we can go to from the World Mobile Chain. But all focus should be on the World Mobile Chain. That is where everything really is happening. A very strong chain built for deep in, and ensuring that anybody that wants to come and launch any service that's related to communications, they can. If they need the billing system, or they need the SIM cards, or they need telephone numbers, or of course with Minutes Network, if they need minutes, they can come to the World Mobile Chain and they can click and deploy. And that's what we've been working very hard on. And we actually have some mobile operators and some MVNOs that are in the grandfather rule, which means that this exclusivity malarkey didn't exist back then. They also are beginning to build on the World Mobile Chain. So that's the concept. World Mobile is the first company that's running and the example of what can be done, connecting the unconnected and banking the unbanked. World Mobile Chain using WMTX is actually what performs those actions.
Excellent.
Micky, as far as you're building out, you're on that mission to get that the unconnected connected, right? But there are already partners in the space like T-Mobile, partnering with maybe Starlink or guys that are already established. Does World Mobile have a opportunity to integrate their systems to better T-Mobile, to better Horizon or another communications, instead of being seen as a competitor? Yes, we're offering different services, but I can also enhance their connectivity in their region, which they can own or whatever like that. Is that possible?
Yeah, definitely. That's where I think I see it going in the end. Sure, we want to take a market share. I think that's right. I think it's right to give the people a network that they can rely on, that's transparent, that doesn't sell their data behind their backs. But ultimately, we can enhance, just like we enhanced Starlink in the video that you saw, the connecting the disconnected. We can enhance the network for other people. And again, I'll repeat what I said earlier. In the beginning, it was a myth, a legend, that people would be able to convince mobile network operators to enter into a sharing economy. Slowly, over the last 3-4 years, we've managed to convince some mobile network operators to enter. I think in the next 5-6 years, it's not about competition, it's about collaboration. And I think that the collaboration will be there. The whole concept of only having a network rather than a network of networks, I fundamentally disagree with this. But there's still a way of working together to help mobile network operators. Indeed, in North Carolina, when the disaster was there, our air nodes allowed AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon customers, if they wished, to connect to our network. And we would have passed connectivity where they couldn't. We were very nimble and able to go out and jump in a Black Hawk, thanks to Charles Hoskinson, and actually deliver a network within 15, 20 minutes on the grounds. So we helped, right? And we will continue to help and we'll continue to support. But again, we do want a market share, because the market share means our sharing economy continues its trajectory. And right now, it's the largest sharing economy in telecommunications and the largest deep in sharing economy. But we don't want to be just with 500,000, 1 million users. We want to connect billions of users. So we'll need some collaboration, and we'll need to show the mobile network operators that we care, and we do. But their mindsets need to change a little bit, and step by step, as they see what we can deliver, they will.
From very tough beginnings into a full-fledged scalable business now, I'm sure there's a lot of things that's been thrown at you. Micky as the CEO, as the friend, as the guy that's working late nights and then making the team, work extra hard and stuff like that. How do you think you as a person has grown over the last 2 years in that leadership role? Because things have changed dramatically. From our first interview to now, we've been following you every step of the way, and things are. It just seems like it's bigger, it's heavier. It's almost feels like it's a behemoth that's bubbling. And you got to manage all of this. You got to keep the reins, intact to make sure that your vision and for the company is steadfast. But do you feel you've grown as a leader?
I think that every breath you take as a human, you have the opportunity to grow. Since I've been young, I've always been under heavy pressure. By my own choices, right? When I was 12 years old, I decided that it was, I needed money, so it was good to go and work. So I used to walk 4 o'clock in the morning, arrive at my work at 5 o'clock, and then be back home by 8:30 to catch a school bus. But it meant that I was earning, a couple of hundred pounds a week, right? So where my peers were not, and I was still able to get my schooling. So I understood. I had very good parents that were able to install hard work ethics into me. But in terms of how have we grown, I don't think it's about me. I think my job is to ensure that the vision is set, but how our team have grown, how our community grown, that's incredible to witness. And that it's not just the connectivity that gives me the motivation, right? The right to connect is what gives me the true motivation, but it's all the people around me. It's watching the community enjoy and be participants and watching the anode sales happen, and then all of a sudden a whole bunch of anode operators start to come and bring ideas to the table and how ways to improve things, and then to see the earth node operators who are just about to boot up their earth nodes next week for the first time after they've waited for 3.5 years. It's these things that inspire me to continue to do what I do. Now listen, if people were pissed off, I could also continue to do what I need to do, because this is an environment that I know that we must succeed and leave an impact. You're not on this planet for very long, and if you can bring something to it that you feel proud about when your time is up, it's something to smile about, right? And you left a legacy. And I've got 2 boys. You talk about being dads, and I think I mentioned this before. I've put myself out there, and I've come public, and I've gone and spoken at the United Nations, and I speak on beautiful podcasts like this, and I've told the world that I'm going to connect as many people as I possibly can with every power that I've got. And I've told the world that we're going to start a movement, a network built by the people for the people. And I've got 2 boys that are watching that and egging me on every single day, and a mum and a sister and a brother and a wife and you guys, So words that you say mustn't come out lightly. When you say something, you must try to deliver your very best on doing so. So the pressure, the leadership, it's been no different than since I was a kid. I'm more mature, of course. I learn new things every single day. It's the interactions with the community, with our team, is what continue to inspire me to make sure that we can do this. But I don't think I'm any different than I was when I was 12 years old, and quite honestly.
That's fantastic. But I'm sure there's been some major challenges along the way, right? It can't have been just smooth sailing. So can you tell us on a personal level, or even on a company level, what's been kind of the biggest challenge, either technical, regulatory, personal? How did you overcome it in your time here of building World Mobile out?
I won't call them challenges, because I don't think anything is really a challenge. If you've got the right team and you put your mind to it, everything is surmountable. I guess during this bear market, it was interesting to see how the world took on crypto and how the hate campaign. That was interesting, because we really wanted to move into the United States. And we built out Reno. We did our first few anode sales there. We have a very successful sharing economy. We built the mobile core. And then we really wanted to make sure that the token was part of the blood of the actual consumer side, not just the engine that runs World Mobile, the World Mobile chain. So this was not a challenge. This was something that was completely out of our control. But then to have seen the new administration that are coming in, and their mindset on how cryptocurrency in America should be the place of innovation, rather than innovation running away because there was a witch hunt. So this was probably one of the scarier moments that we didn't know what the outcome was going to be or what was going to happen. And, if America accepts crypto and blockchain, then the rest of the world does, simply. If America doesn't accept it, only a few countries that are brave enough, like the United Arab Emirates, start to put in frameworks in order to be able to be accepting. But really, you need everyone to accept it, because that's the way that we clean up the industry. That's the way that we make sure that people stop getting scammed and rugged, and founders stop running away with $5 million or $10 million. So this was probably what I would say the biggest mental challenge of it all. But it's just every day. Get to the computer, do what you got to do, jump on an airplane, see who you've got to see. Whatever problem you've got, fix it. Make sure that you've got the people, your troops fed, ready, watered to rock on. And I think sometimes the team are like, shit, he's making me work again Saturday, right? or like, well, I've just worked 20 hours straight. Can there be a delay? No, they can't, right? So maybe also this has been something that I've learned more about how to manage people. World Mobile at one point was close to 200 people big. So previously, most of the companies that I'd been involved in were stayed startup, right? They never went into a corporate level. They were very successful. They generated lots of revenue, but it wasn't the same level as here. So maybe that's another aspect where I've managed to level up, where I've managed to XP and understand lots of different people, lots of different politics, all at the same time happening, whilst you've got to deliver to a community of 100,000 people who are watching every step you make and want to have updates every week. Quite right, so, because without them, nothing's possible. I would never have done World Mobile as a standard mobile network operator without a community. I knew the power of the sharing economy. I knew the power of the movement. Yeah. So that's a few pointers there that I've learned over the last 4 years, and I'm sure over the next 4 years I'm gonna learn more. But I don't believe challenges exist. I think that everything is surmountable, and you're able to do it if you've got the right mindset.
That's a great way to look at it. Amazing.
And we're starting to see a lot of people posting about World Mobile online. It almost seems like the light switch has come on, and there's this constant content feed it's refreshing, because it keeps you up to date. Everyone's got a different perspective. You're learning from different people, and node operators and guys that have bought the little air nodes and the experiences.
Sparks.
It's just Sparks. Yeah, it's just amazing. My big question, and this is just maybe a little on a technical side, is that, like we absolutely in awe and have been for years of what you're building out and the vision, and listening to some of your co-founders and that building stuff that hasn't existed, and you're pioneering the technical space, and so much so without the red tape of a traditional corporate. But one of the big problems that are facing telecommunications companies is actually that person you have to phone, to answer a call, to fix a problem, the back-end systems, the stuff that kind of gives that customer experience. As much as you're innovating in the technical side, do you have a team that's focusing on that human relationship? That when I'm at an airport and I cannot connect and I've just bought an eSIM or whatever, is it as ambitious to grow that side as is to pioneer and grow the front end?
Definitely. I mean, we're in a wonderful position. When I was running telecom companies 10, 15, even 20, I think even 23, 24 years ago now, you didn't have AI. So actually you needed somebody at the end of the line to pick up that call to be able to solve a problem. And usually the problem existed between the phone and the chair. So it was the person, right? It wasn't a device. So you'd have a lot of wasted hours and wasted time, and you'd go out and try and find the cheapest possible staff that you could, and that would reduce the quality of the experience for the person. But you couldn't afford to have 100 call center staff to be able to answer for 1 million people. Even then, you need more call center staff. All of a sudden now you've got AI, something that we're also building and working on, where you can run a program, you can still call, you can still speak to someone that sounds like a human, and they can identify the issue quite quickly. And then if they can't, then you can jump and speak to a human. So we're working on that from a customer support level on SMS or text to voice as well, and also potentially to some AI virtuals that will be able to have a conversation with you like this. So we have a few demos up right now internally. You'll be able to jump onto the web browser and actually feel like you are speaking to a real person and getting real responses. And sometimes people need that. They like that, especially if you're not technology savvy. this is always helps to have a visualization and someone that is there for you.
Brilliant.
Very cool. So, hey, everybody, before we continue, just a quick reminder to everybody listening, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Let us know your favorite part of the interview so far, or drop a quick question for Micky below. And while you're at it, share this with a friend who's into crypto or tech, or, maybe just wants to learn a little more. Trust us, they're going to thank you later if you introduce them to World Mobile. So, Micky, World Mobile's focus on community is something that we both really admire. How do you ensure that communities you connect with feel ownership and are actively involved in the network?
Yeah, I think that as simple as it may sound, incentive, money. When something is valuable to you, you appreciate it more than when it's not. So when something is generating for you or your community or a remote operator revenue, and you know you're part of that, and you know that you were not going to be a part of that previous to this sharing economy, that's the number one first. It doesn't matter if you care about connectivity or not. This is the driver that allows people to continue to do things, to be sustainable, is having an incentive. So I think that's number one. Number two, we care about our communities. We provide our communities with the ability to be able to connect, speak to each other, and speak to the other half of the world. And we make sure that in our messaging and with our local ambassadors on the ground and with the partner network with Hex Guardians, which is coming out very soon, that the community understand why we do what we do. And they understand why they should be connecting to their neighbor's roof as opposed to connecting to another big wireless corporate company. And we explain to them that actually the money comes back into your neighborhoods. That means more money spent in your coffee shops, more money spent in your laundrettes, more money spent in your shops. It's about empowering people. That's ultimately what it comes down to, whether that's through incentives, whether that's through being culturally aware of what they're doing. No one really, I said at the beginning of the call, no one's really aware that there's another option. It's all big wireless. Okay, I've got my mobile network operator. Think about it. You've got a SIM card in your phone. How often do you talk about your mobile network to your friends? Oh, wow, I'm on AT&T and it's amazing. And I've got, like, maybe the first week you switched over, right? Because it's like you have a different experience. But at that point, you don't care. All you want is connectivity. That's all you want, reliable connectivity. Yeah. And you just keep, it's like that voice in your head when you don't have connectivity, you say, oh, fuck. Yeah. Right. And that's it. You don't say anything else. You don't ring them up and say, hey, look, I don't have connectivity 80% of my time where I live here in Wyoming, or I want a discount on my bill. It's just an acceptance that we have. So education is also a massive part of making sure the community understand why we do what we do. And as soon as we have broken the non-caring about your mobile network operator, then all of a sudden, I think we can start to see people talking about their mobile network operator and saying, wow, look, I've got privacy. Wow, I get these rewards. Wow, I get cash back. Look at this. I got SIM swap insurance for, $2 million in case something happens to me or my family. There's nothing out there. So it's all legacy. It's all old, and it needs to change in order for people to fall in love with the service that they run. At the end of the day, you're spending how many hours? Look on your iPhone or your Android phone. Look how much time you're spending online. Connected. You should love that connection. You should understand everything about it and be able to dig as deep as you possibly can to what that connection is bringing you. And you should also be able to earn from that connection as well.
And be protected from that connection as well.
Yep.
Right. Absolutely.
Micky, you've connected communities, and we've seen the videos of the power of connecting someone that hasn't had communication, right? Now, what are you guys tracking? Because it's been a few years since that video of when you guys powered up a community.
The smart village.
The smart village, right. And then the light, and then the fishermen could sell more fish, and the economy just. Have you been tracking that? Has it been growing? Has it empowering? Has that village become more mainstream?
The village became part of everybody else, part of our world, part of our life. It's still connected. It still has the ability to be able to reach out and to be able to be reached into. So obviously, there's probably a lot more people watching TikTok and doing things that they weren't doing before. But this is choice, right? People should have that choice, the ability to do what they need. But we've seen it grow so much since then. We've seen it grow into something that is absolutely huge. We left Zanzibar. Zanzibar was a very experiment. that's what it was. It was like, okay, can we build a sharing economy? Can we get local people involved? Can we get remote people involved, governments involved, hotels involved, schools involved? And we literally went door to door knocking, right? And we had a lot of staff out there and a lot of engineers. And it was an experiment to see if the sharing economy would work. In my head, I knew it would work, but you can't assume something unless you've made it work. And then Asia, Pakistan. Wow, that was like, okay, let the baby go. I'm not letting the baby go. Let the baby go. I'm not letting the baby go. Right? It was like, okay, the baby's not a baby anymore, Mick. You've got to let it go. So this internal fight, like, if this falls over, is it going to mean that everything that we've done for the last year and a half, everything that I've learned for the last 15 years, 20 years, is gonna fail? And then it was just like, well, if it falls over, we'll just be watching, walking very closely behind, right, and help pick it up, make sure no one gets run over. But fortunately, we did our work so well in Zanzibar that we were able to just take a book and give that to Pakistan, and then Pakistan rolled and ran with it. So we were in a very, very, very good position, where all of a sudden we had a sharing economy that worked without any World Mobile staff, without any World Mobile trucks, without any World Mobile anything except from the license to run the World Mobile sharing economy. And then we took that to America, and we were like, whoa, is it going to work here? Because in Zanzibar, it was Wi-Fi only, right? In Pakistan, it was Wi-Fi and fiber. So that was a kind of a slight different variations of the model. In USA, it was like, okay, you've got 3 different types of spectrum. You've got licensed spectrum, you've got CBRS, which is unlicensed, but it's not unlicensed. You still have to pay a small fee every month, but they consider it unlicensed. You've got Wi-Fi, you've got fiber, you've got an aerostat in the air. Like, is this gonna work? And in record time, we managed to build out a network in Reno with the sharing economy that would have taken traditional legacy mobile network operators maybe a year and a half, 2 years to roll out those first sites, whilst we were within 3 months, 4 months, had actually laid down a network that was better than theirs. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Micky, just a follow-up question. One of the most debated and most talked about, asking, I think it's because of lack of knowledge, and I think it's, there's not enough understanding of it, is this the whole Starlink thing, right? Now, you hear in the news, now you can basically receive a call straight from the satellites, and now all telecommunications in the country is going under, What relationship does, besides the backhaul, is it only backhaul? Can really Starlink gear up to really take over the entire mobile network? Is World Mobile a threat? Because that's what people think. They think, it's Starlink is a World Mobile killer, right? So how does it fit into? And obviously, you learn more, you kind of understand more. But to debunk this whole Starlink thing, how do they fit into this picture?
Starlink is a good provider for us, and we use them wherever we possibly can in remote and rural areas. But there's problems, just like there's problems with mobile networks and these radios. Everything has its limitations. Nothing is the full solution. So if you put lots of low Earth orbit satellites and transmitters are all in the same area and the same ground, you have something called band contention, right? So beam contention, excuse me. So you can't connect. Physics doesn't allow you to connect 1,000 people in 1 square mile, as an example, right? Don't quote me on that. I probably need to get the right stats. But there's a reason that the companies have stopped selling in areas where there's heavy usage, is because it degrades the network. So with World Mobile, we can plug into that, and then we can broadcast much further than the existing connection. We can broadcast it to anywhere between 100 miles or 2 miles, depending on the infrastructure that you have on your roof. So Starlink is a killer to World Mobile. World Mobile is a killer to Starlink. World Mobile is this. Everyone will say what they want to say. I think there's enough room. The demand for capacity is going up 35% annually. Okay,
Sure.
There's not enough time for one company to try and take it on themselves. There's not. You can't fly enough satellites to space to connect 1 billion people or 3 billion people. You can put the hardware on the ground to do that, but you might not have the fiber. You might not have. So again, it's very complementary, and we're very happy and very excited that Starlink are making the progress that they're making, because it only allows us to support them in times that they need support, but ultimately allows us to grow our business. It's a great solution, fantastic solution. Elon's done amazing to do so. But very different than what World Mobile offers. Even direct to handset from the sky is limited. If
Hmm.
Yeah.
But currently, if you have 5 people connected and they were to be having a Zoom call, that would be the whole satellite out. Right?
Oh, wow.
So that's. But if you're in the middle of the desert or Death Valley or somewhere where you've broken your leg in Wyoming and you need to be able to have a call where there was no signal before, wow, it's amazing, right? This is like
Yeah.
perfect technology. So it has its limitations, but it's great.
Yeah, for sure. So on the tech side, air nodes have been a big part of your story. What's the next step there? Are there any other innovations on the horizon that we should be excited about?
Yeah, aerostats are really working out quite well. We've managed to reduce the cost of the aerostats. Helium is a very expensive commodity. So we've managed to actually get that down to a far lower cost and to be able to lift almost a similar weight by different designs. So that's definitely on the cards. Stratosphere is definitely on the cards. But ultimately, we've got a solution now that can help everybody and can connect everyone everywhere. So that's what we're focusing on. And we're focusing not on World Mobile deploying that, but on empowering the sharing economy to do that. Right now, we're the ones that choose where the sales will happen. There's something called Hex Guardians that's coming out. And Hex Guardians will allow a group of people or an individual to be able to take a piece of land and have the right to start a sale on there. And then the right to be incentivized from traffic that happens there and the right to be able to market people, essentially like a franchise. So that's a huge focus for us. And I think that's a big innovation when people can start their own sales and they can start to deploy clusters of networks all over the world. That's when the critical mass happens. That's when networks meet networks. And unlike the legacy operators, we want a network of networks.
Oh, absolutely. Is that coming to the US anytime soon?
Absolutely, because that's going to launch first in the United States of America,
Fantastic. Cannot
nationwide.
wait.
And
Amazing.
enough about America. What about South Africa, Mickey?
We're coming. I was actually on the
We'll be
phone
waiting.
4 days ago to a very prominent person in South Africa. Nick Soper is in Cape Town. Andy Soper,
Yes, I know.
Nick's twin brother, was also in South Africa recently, attending a few events and setting up some business. But South Africa is also a very high data cost market with very patchy signal throughout, and God knows the people need a cheaper option out there. But ultimately, they also need something that is secure.
Okay. Can't wait. Can't wait. I'll be there with my Mobile T-Shop shirt, setting up, getting my little hex ready. Now tell me, World Mobile and Minutes, how do they play together, and how does Minutes kind of fit into this whole growth of World Mobile? Because obviously, we know, but we just want our community to understand, do they play a big role? Do they play a little role? And kind of how, are they replaceable, or is it just they kind of work like two substances that make a third substance?
First of all, it's my brother, so replacing is not an option. And second of
Good.
all, I know the quality of what they can build and how he works, so it wouldn't be a necessity or a reason to do so. Second of all, it's very different than World Mobile. It's in the minute sector. Josh has managed to build a system that can reinvigorate revenue for carriers. It's kind of a B2B to C business as opposed to a B2C business. But there's additional projects that we're working on together, right? Unity is something that is definitely a collaboration where we can win as a community by combining our skills, and that's something that also will be at the beginning of next year released, probably firstly in the USA, but then it can be released anywhere in the world after it's been released on the World Mobile Network first of all. And then there's some cool other innovations. Like I've always talked about essentially a DEX where you can trade your own data. And I don't mean data as in only talk time. I also mean your personal data or your public data. But there's also opportunities there that we can bring revenue in together. So that will probably be something that we launch together as well as a collaboration. But listen, expect Minutes Network and World Mobile to be doing some pretty cool things together for the next 10, 15, 20, 30 years, as long as we're still around. Expect Josh and Mick to always be doing cool things together. And it's powerful for both companies and it's powerful for both communities. And whilst I say both communities, I pretty much think it's one community, right? So
Yeah.
90%. And that's been beautiful to see everyone come together.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we feel like it is one community because we've been such fans of World Mobile, and then when Minutes came along, I know Sean was trying to get a hold of Josh like from the moment he found out that he split off into doing Minutes Network, because
I was almost stalking him.
He was completely stalking your brother.
You could be brothers as well. How heavy are you? Josh is the beast. I'm at 119 kilos. Josh, I think, is 106 kilos. But you also look like you can.
Shit! Let's not
play
talk about
rugby.
weight online. Yeah, 140 somewhere around there. I'm trying to cut. But yeah,
Christmas coming up. Good time to diet.
That's right.
yeah.
That's excellent. So let's look into that crystal ball for just a second. When you think about the future of telecom, what's the one alpha opportunity that you think World Mobile is uniquely positioned to capture?
People who want to reclaim power. That's what it comes down to. Yes, we fix the coverage problem. Yes, we can support mobile network operators. Yes, we can do many things, but ultimately, reclaim your power. You have the right to do so. No one's ever given you an option to do that before. And that's the one thing that World Mobile can do. And the sharing economy is so powerful, right? It fixes everything and allows us, the people, to be able to be in control of the very service that we use. It's us, the product. We are the product, right? We pay for that product, but we're not treated as the product. We're treated as just a number, literally. So this is the biggest alpha, and not many companies think this way or will think this way, because there's a lot of money to be made, and shareholders want that money, and founders want that money. But I'm looking at it from a very, very different angle, of one that actually we can do both. We can make money for everybody, and we can allow everyone to reclaim that power.
Incredible. Well, Micky, this has been an absolutely incredible interview. Thank you for sharing your story and your vision with us. And I think our audience is going to walk away from this with a whole new appreciation for what World Mobile is doing.
Gents, thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on. I wish you a very happy festive season that's coming up. And I hope to see you in South Africa or America soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Can't wait to meet you in person. It's been great. Thanks a lot, Micky.
Micky, thanks for your time. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks.
Ciao.
See you.
The material and information presented in this recording are for entertainment purposes only. Do not misconstrue what you hear as investment or trading advice. Always do your own research. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by the guests on this recording are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of Dad's Gone Crypto or its hosts.